starts quietly, not with a scream, but with a hush you mistake for peace. The streetlight outside draws a thin gold line on the wall. The house exhales. You finally hear the softest sound in the room, your own breath coming back to you. For a moment, nothing asks to be managed. No faces to read. No moods to hold up. No laughter to prove you're okay. You close the window a little. The world becomes a smaller place. Not hostile, just far enough. And in that smallness, something true rises to the surface. Safety doesn't always arrive as company. Sometimes it arrives as space. You are not hiding. You are returning. You know the feeling. Crowded rooms make your attention splinter into confetti. Even good conversations feel like a current you must swim against. You monitor, soften, redirect, hold space for everyone's edges so they won't cut each other. Or you. You smile when you're tired. You nod when you disagree. You leave and call it a great night and wonder why your chest still feels like a clenched fist. Then you come home and do the ritual you never named. Lights low, water on, mug warm, a window to look at instead of eyes to survive. The air thins. Your shoulders drop. Your thoughts change tone. From alarm to conversation. Presence, it turns out, is louder without an audience. People will offer labels for this. Antisocial, difficult, cold. But you know better. This is maintenance. Solitude is the place your nervous system remembers its original language. Psychologists have a phrase for the thing no one sees while you're laughing at the table. Hypervigilance. It isn't drama. It's duty. Your body monitoring microshifts in tone, posture, volume, words, silence, everything. A soundtrack of what-ifs runs like code in the background. Are they bored? Are they tense? Did I say too much? Did I say enough? Now multiply that by the number of people in the room, the number of lights, the number of stories being told at once. Do you see why your jaw aches the next day? Why your mind keeps rehearsing lines long after the scene is over? You aren't fragile. You're finely tuned. Solitude, then, is not a withdrawal from life. It's a recalibration. A way of saying, my attention is allowed to rest. I am allowed to be a single person again. No translation. No management. No performance. If you grew up reading rooms to stay safe, you learn to carry weather inside you. Forecasting, adjusting, making sunshine for others while you froze. Some people call that kindness. Your nervous system calls it overtime. Solitude ends the shift. Let me tell you a small story. There was a candle that thought the wind was personal. Every time it tried to burn, a draft found it. Not a storm. Just enough to make the flame bend. To make it flicker nervous. To make it spend its strength staying lit rather than shining. One night, someone cupped their hands around the candle. No new wax. No magic. Just a gentler climate. It didn't become a different flame. It became itself. You are not escaping the world. You're cupping your flame. Another idea. Internal locus of control, the quiet engine that hums, what steadies me is inside me. Not the cheer. Not the nod. Not the crowd's echo. When that engine is what keeps you standing, solitude isn't a shutdown. It's a power outlet. You plug in, charge up, and the lights in your house stop flickering. Boundaries help here. People think of boundaries as walls. They're doors with locks. The point is not to keep everyone out. It's to choose who comes in and when. Solitude is simply the key you turn when your rooms need cleaning. You lock the door. You sweep. You light the candle. You move the furniture back to where your body can walk without bruising. Then you unlock the door again, because now there's space for people to enter without knocking things over. The world will still misunderstand. That's okay. You can answer misunderstanding with rhythm. Repetition that clarifies rather than argues. They say, you disappear. You say, I return. They say, you avoid. You say, I recover. They say, you're distant. You say, I'm calibrating. They say, you don't need anyone. You say, I need people most when I can still hear myself. Not absence, alignment. Not rejection, repair. There's another pressure nobody names while they're posting their lives in high definition. Self-presentational pressure. The quiet panic that someone is always watching, even when they aren't. The camera makes everything a stage. The stage makes everything a scene. Scenes need endings, and endings need applause. If you've felt that tug, you know why quiet rooms feel holy. In solitude, you can do things that don't scan. Make tea you won't photograph. Cry without composing a lesson. Rest without proving you earned it. You can have a day that was only a day, not content. Not everything meaningful needs witnesses. Let's be honest about the fear hidden under the habit. Sometimes being alone isn't peace. It's anesthesia. You go home not to refill, but to go numb. The show stops and the silence turns into a screen where memories play. The moment you were laughed at for being too intense. The night your truth was too loud. The birthday you pretended you didn't care about because caring is dangerous. Be gentle. If solitude became your shelter during storms, your body might flinch at the first sound of weather. Even if the forecast is clear. That's not evidence you're broken. That's evidence you learned to survive. Guided questions help here. Not the kind that interrogate, the kind that invite. When did you first notice that calm felt suspicious? Whose emotions did you carry so they wouldn't spill? What part of you got quieter so the room could stay quiet? Where does your body soften the second the door closes? What would safe with others look like if you didn't have to perform safety for them? Write one sentence tonight that doesn't try to sound okay. There's a temptation to make this about identity. I am a person who prefers solitude because I am X. But identity can harden around us and become another wall. Try noticing it as practice instead. Practice isn't forever. It's for now. Practice looks like this. You leave the gathering 10 minutes earlier than guilt wants and call it progress. You plan a day that contains nothing anyone can praise you for and call it nourishing. You answer a message tomorrow instead of immediately and call it breathable. You speak one honest sentence in a soft voice and call it brave. Your nervous system can learn new weather. Another concept, sensory gating, how open the doors are between you and the world's noise. Some people's gates are wide. They need more to feel something. Your gates are thinner. You need less to feel full. That doesn't make you less social. It makes you easier to overflow. So you design your days like a coastline. Places where the tide can reach you, and coves where the sea pulls back so the sand can breathe. You don't owe the ocean an apology for the shore. Let's talk about friends. The right ones won't punish your quiet. They'll adapt. You won't have to explain the difference between alone and abandoned. Some people translate your silence as a verdict. That's their story. Your task is simpler. Choose people who treat your boundaries as a map, not a fence. Find the ones who knock gently and wait. A microstory again. A person sits by a window at 3 a.m. They are not sad. They are not elated. They are exact. The city hums like a faraway engine. Inside, a small light draws a circle on the desk. The circle fits a notebook, a pen, a cup, a palm. That's it. That's the whole country of the night. They write, I didn't vanish. I stepped back enough to see my shape. They close the notebook and sleep, and in the morning, they can bear the weight of loving people again because they didn't spend the night auditioning to be worth it. Reframe time. The story you inherited says, together is healthy, alone is suspect. Try this instead. Together is beautiful when alone is safe. Intimacy isn't two people clinging. It's two people arriving, each already held by their own arms. When solitude is shame-free, relationships stop feeling like theft. You don't enter a room to borrow oxygen. You enter carrying your own. You don't go on a date to be rescued from yourself. You go to be met where you already live. Connection is truest between whole people. What about the fear that if you start choosing solitude, you'll never come back out? Notice how extremes talk. They always say never. Practice answers with for now. For now, you choose a quieter weekend. For now, you pause before you say yes. For now, you give your body the mercy of a slower morning. For now, you choose rooms where your nervous system doesn't have to file a complaint. Your life is not a pendulum trapped at one end. It swings. Today you rest. Tomorrow you show up. You learn the choreography where both look like love. If you need a few practical doors to open, the 20-minute landing. After social time, do nothing for 20 minutes. No phone. No talk. Let your system land. The 3-note check-in. Name one sensation in your body, one emotion in your chest, one thought in your head. Write them down without improving them. The honest RSVP. I want to see you. I'm free next week. Let's do something quiet. You didn't say no to them. You said yes to how you can be with them. The boundary rehearsal. In the mirror, softly. I'm leaving now. I had a good time. I want to go home while it still feels good. Leaving early isn't failing the night. It's saving tomorrow. There is a kind of joy that only solitude reveals. The joy of unperformed living. The way tea tastes when no one is watching. The way your face relaxes when it's not telling a story. The way your favorite song feels when it isn't an announcement, just a private bridge you cross to meet yourself. You'll still love people. Maybe more because you don't require them to be anesthesia or permission. You'll still show up. Maybe better because you arrive with enough energy to listen without losing your shape. Let's return to that first room, the gold line on the wall. The rain has slowed. Your breath is unremarkable in the most sacred way. It is just yours, happening, not performing. You're not cold. You were windblown. You're not distant. You were echoing. You're not hard. You were protecting the softest part. You are not the absence of noise. You are the presence of self. Before we end, a blessing in plain words. May your solitude be a door, not a dungeon. May the rooms you choose be big enough for your breath. May the people who love you understand the difference between quiet and goodbye. May you learn to trust the parts of you that come back only when it's calm. May you carry that calm into the world like a lantern, small, steady, yours. And when the world is bright and loud and fast again, may you remember this simple truth. Being alone can be the most generous thing you do for your relationships, because you return to them with a self you can offer, not a self you are asking them to rescue. You're not broken. You grew up in rooms where quiet meant danger, or expectation, or nothing at all. Now you're learning to let quiet mean home. You're not cold. You're careful. You're not hiding. You're healing. You're not leaving. You're arriving to yourself first, then to us. If this found you at the right hour, keep it for the noisy ones. And if someone you love misunderstands your quiet, share this with them, not as a defense, but as a map. Because together is better when alone is safe. And tonight, you are safe. If this met you in the quiet, keep the quiet alive. Subscribe for more calm, reflective psychology, one small film at a time. Tap the bell to be reminded when the next light appears. Save this for the noisy days, and share it with someone who mistakes your silence for goodbye.